Good morning everyone, my name is 𝐂𝐱𝐩𝐿 Agrawal from grade 8 Indravati, and today I am going to be finding sine values of some standard angles using triangles. These angles include 0 degree, 30 degree, 45 degree, 60 degree and lastly 90 degrees. So let's begin. So first let's find sine 0 degree. So let's make a right angle triangle. This being the right angle and this being angle theta. We need to find sine 0 degree. As we know, this is the perpendicular as it is opposite to angle theta. So if we decrease this angle slowly and it reaches here, ultimately the perpendicular will also become 0. So then as we know, sine is p by h. So if perpendicular is 0, we can write it as this and ultimately it will become 0. So sine 0 degree is 0. So now let's prove sine 30 degree. For this, we will need an equilateral triangle whose each angle is equal to 60 degree. And we can also name each side as A. And if we can divide this triangle into two right angle triangles by drawing this line here called the median. As we can see here, two right angles are made and this is divided into 30 degrees each. So now to prove sine 30 degree, as we know sine is p by h. Here p is the angle opposite to the 30 degrees, so it is this part, and this part can be written as a by 2 since the median divided the equilateral triangle into two halves. So here we can write a by 2 by h being a over here. So then we can write a cancels out because they are dividing, and then we can write it as 1 by 2 by 1, which we can write again as 1 by 2. So ultimately sine 30 degree becomes 1 by 2. So now let's prove the value of sine 60 degree. So let's make an equilateral triangle like before and name its sides as A, and A, and its angles as 60 degree, and lastly 60 degree. So now to prove sine 60 degree, here we can divide this triangle into two halves by a line called median, and it will make two right angle triangles. But here we don't have the value of perpendicular, so we are going to use Pythagoras theorem, which states h square equals to p square plus b square. So b square here can be written as a by 2 as the median divides it into two halves. So we can rewrite this as this being hypotenuse, so a square equals to p square plus a by 2 whole square. And then we can simplify this more and then write a square equals to p square plus a square by 4. Now rearranging this equation, we will write p square equals to a square minus a square by 4. So we can simplify this more by writing p square equals to 3a square by 4. Now we bring this square over here and it goes under root. So this will be written as 3a square by 4, and then the square root cancel out, which leaves us with root 3 by 2a. This is the value of perpendicular. Now let's go and write sine 60 degree as p by h. We got the value of sine as root 3 by 2a and the value of h was a. So you can write it here and then a cancels out, which ultimately leaves us with root 3 by 2. So now let's find the value of sine 45 degrees. So here we will make an isosceles right angle triangle and we will name these sides A as they are equal, and the angle will be 90 degrees each. 90 degree, and these angles will be 45 degree each. So now we will find the hypotenuse, which is necessary to find sine, as the value of sine is p by h. So we will use the Pythagoras theorem again, which states h square equals to p square plus b square. So now we will fill in the values of p square and b square. Now this can be simplified and written as root under 2a square. And now the squares will cancel out, leaving us with hypotenuse being root 2 into a. Now we can find sine 45 degrees using this. Which is p by h. We know the value of p is a and the value of h is root 2 into a. Now the a's will cancel out, leaving us with 1 by root 2, which is the value of sine 45 degrees. So lastly, let's find the value of sine 90 degrees. First, let's draw a right angle triangle with sides A, B, and C. This being 90 degree and this being angle theta. So to increase angle theta and make it 90 degree, we slowly increase it and make it reach point B. Ultimately, it will reach point B and overlap, which will make P and H equal. And as we know that sine is equal to P by H, and if both of the values are same, then we can write it directly as 1. So hence sine 90 degree will be 1. So we found the values of sine 0 to 90, which are, as for recap, sine 0 degree is 0, sine 30 degrees is 1 by 2, sine 45 degrees is 1 by root 2, sine 60 degree is root 3 by 2, and lastly sine 90 degrees is 1. Now we can find these values using these triangles, and you can also prove them using the formulas that I showed. Thank you everyone. This is the end of the video. I hope you found it informative and you learned how these values of these standard angles came from. Thank you.